Well, now, if you are 40 years and below and you can manage to pull 5,000 Kenyan shillings at the end of the month, this is the video for you. Do exactly this I'm gonna share with you. Now, this is the point. I know when you're at this age, you feel like, hey, it is late. I don't know whether I can be able to make myself back again. No, it's not late. Sometimes I usually receive calls from guys who are 55 years and they're telling me, hey, you know what, Joseph, I'm about to go and retire. Tell me what I can be able to do in 5 years and get myself back on the feet. All right. So if you are below 40 years, come on, this is the high time for you. But there is something I want to remind you very well at this particular point. I said at this particular point, you are about to transit from making money to actually doing what? Storing money. What exactly does it mean? Let me just give you a brief example of what happens in life. See, when you are young, let's talk of 21 years and above. That's the time they're supposed to make money. You know, you make money, try more things and different things, okay? At that particular point, you have the luxury of time. But as you grow old, a time comes whereby you now realize, hey, guess what? I do not have time to try much of the things that are outside there. What I'm supposed to do is be able to store money for the purposes of my future, for the purposes of my retirements. Because, hey, if I have kids, I don't want to go out there and make them be a liability to them. That's why we say there is a transition between making money and storing money. So at this particular age of below 40, it's a combination of both storing money and making money at the same time. You don't have to misuse what you have. Probably at this particular time, guess what? You have kids that you're educating, you have families, or maybe you're looking forward into having one. All right. So let's get into the business, okay? But don't forget this. By the way, I actually post a video each and every day. So if you don't want to miss any piece of my videos, down below there is a small button written subscribe. Hit that magical button. Yeah, it's free. I mean, seriously, just do so. And then like this video. Doesn't cost you anything. Imagine I'm making all these videos for free for you. Just hit that like button. So much free, okay? Now, let's get into the business. And something that you're supposed to understand. You can manage to get yourself 5,000 and at the end of the month, and I said this is monthly, you have to make sure that at least you do the best to make sure that you put that resources out there. Now, I've actually divided these things into two categories. I have the pot A and I have the pot B. And these pots, they must be fulfilled and they must actually be catered for. One thing that you're supposed to understand, well, 5,000 Kenya shillings at the end of the month, it's not like a humongous amount of money. What do we do? First of all, at the pot A, you have to understand at this particular age, you ought to have what we call the emergency fund. Come on, you're already an adult now. I don't have to explain to you that life is full of expectations and you have to get prepared as much as you can, all right? That's the reason why you usually have insurances and what have you, just in case, okay? Number two, you ought to also to have a coverage as far as the health is concerned. You either have money or you have an insurance cover. Those are the two things. You have to have them. That's not the point. This is where the real deal is, okay? Now, you have yourself 5,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, what do you do at the end of the month? I want you to divide your goals into two. Number one, I want you to divide what you call a short-term goal. That is below 5 years and below. And the other one is actually a long-term goal above 5 years kwenda mbele or going forward. Okay, now what do I want you to do? First of all, I want you to do this. Appreciate the fact that, hey, this amount of money accumulated in a certain period of time, it can be actually a very good amount of money. On the short-term goal, there are a variety of the things, close to 6 of them, that I want you to do and invest in these areas. I'm not going to talk about businesses. Those ones are a little bit dicey and risky as we speak right now. What I want you to do is that go ahead and pick something like rates. Right? Okay, rate is like you buying shares on the real estate. Have you ever, been in a situation whereby you would love to go ahead and be able to invest in real estate, but you do not have the billions of money? You know what? Even if you have like 3,000, 10,000, 20, 50, 100, you can get yourself into the real estate industry through what we call the rates. Rates is like the shares of real estate. These are companies that invest on real estate. You can be able to buy shares on those companies. So once they invest, they get the profit. They invest in something like commercial properties, residential properties, and all those kind of things. So they give you money in return. You can decide to be dedicating this 5,000 of yours towards that specific thing. All right. Okay. Now, the other thing you can be able to do with this 5,000 at the end of the month, how about you get yourself into a fixed income investments? These are the areas where you keep your money, you fix your money, because hey, guess what? I want to accumulate a certain percentage of fund. Because maybe let's say you don't get interested with this kind of investments. Yourself, you love getting yourself into real businesses, conventional business and what have you. But this 5,000 obviously can't get you like a good business out there. So what do? Do you just keep your money in a bank? No, that's where now all these things comes in. You have to put your money, let's say, in fixed income investments, whereby you find that it's earning you some money. For example, if you go to banks, there are FDSs and what have you. If you go to SACCOs, there are. And by the way, talk of SACCOs, you have to be very careful actually, okay? You can go to something that we call the BOSA accounts, that the back office activity accounts, where you fix your money, it's earning you interest, and then you can be able to progress to the next level. The other thing that you can be able to get yourself into are things like mutual funds. These mutual funds are examples of the balance funds, akina bond fund, others like we call them the money market fund and what have you. So if you can get yourself in balance fund, the mutual fund, index fund, and what have you, this can actually go ahead and do something for you at the end of the day. All right. And at this particular category of short-term investments, okay, we are looking forward into having, okay, you can set a goal. Last time I gave a goal of, let's say you are young, you can give yourself for the next 5 years before you go to the next general election. Then you can be able to have accumulated a good amount of money, which you can withdraw, go and invest somewhere and progress to the next level. Okay. The other thing that you can be able to get yourself into is the treasury bonds and the treasury bills. But for this category, let's talk about the treasury bonds, because you require 50,000. But you have the 50,000? Heck no, you don't have the 50,000. So what do you do for you to get the 50,000? Well, if you were to save continuously each and every month, in less than a year, talking of a year, 10 months specifically, you already have your 50,000 that you can be able to invest on the treasury bonds. How do you achieve that? You can be able to channel your money towards the money market fund, and then after that, or maybe let's say fixed income investments, maybe let's say per year, after you've accumulated that what you're targeting, and then you can take your money, invest on the treasury bonds, maybe 3 years, 4 years, but obviously sub 5 years, because we are talking about a short term. That is exactly what you can be able to do. And guess what? At this particular age, you're not supposed, I know right now you've faced a lot of things, you've gone through different experiences, and you already know time is a factor that has to be included if you want to accumulate wealth, if you want to grow yourself out there. If I was talking to maybe an 18-year-old, when I talk about 5 years is a short term, they're like, what? I thought short term should be like in weeks. No, at this age, you already know, hey, time is running. And by the way, if you've not understood that, I don't know what you can be able to do. All right, let's go to the next point. Now the other part is about the short-term goals. That means 7 years and above. What do you do with 7 years and above? With 7 years and above, a lot of people tend to think about the pension fund. A lot of people tend to think about retirement fund and all those kind of things. There's nothing wrong with that. You can actually channel that amount of money there. The only problem that I usually have with this pension fund and retirement funds and what have you is that, hey, what if an opportunity shows up and I have like 200,000 or 300,000 in my pension fund? I can't access the money, but I want to buy this opportunity. So I always love, hey, I would think of pension fund maybe when I hit, maybe let's say 48, 50, around there. I don't know. That's me. That's how I perceive things. It's not a must you do the way I do. We all perceive life in a different way. So anyway, the point is this. On the long-term perspective, why don't you pick something like stocks? I have been giving ideas about buying stocks, guys. This is the best time to do so. Why? Because we are on the bear market, meaning that the market's actually going down and it's projected to revamp, go back up, and then at that particular point you're not only entitled to good dividends but also to good capital gains, because hey, there are chances of those share pair, we call them price per share, to actually increase in terms of price. Can you imagine like Safaricom one came all the way from 26 shillings per share to 14 shillings, 12 shillings down. What does it mean? It's the high time to get into, and then once you get into, it can revamp back to that particular point, and that's like literally doubling your money. If you put like your 100 G's, if you liquidate your shares after that particular point, you've doubled your money. All right. Well, it may sound easier than done. It's not so, but it usually takes time and also dedication and having some a little bit element of risky inside of you. Okay. The other thing you can get yourself into, if you have the capacity, is about the real estate. All right. You can get yourself into land buying, because hey, guess what? Did I say that you're actually transitioning from making money to what? To storing money. Because at this particular point, you want to secure your future. You don't want to be a nuisance. You don't want to be a liability to your families or your children or whoever is actually around you or who you matter to them. So what you're doing is that as much as you want to grow the money, at the same time, you want to have a combination, okay? A cocktail of both making money and at the same time, what? Storing money. All right, because I always tell people the success of an individual, okay, is never measured by how high he climbs, but how high he bounces when he hits the bottom. That's how we define it. Okay, and the rate of absorbability, the retention capacity, how much can you be able to retain? Okay, that's what we say, hey, that is your net worth. Not how much you make, no, it's how much you're able to retain. That's what we say, it's your net worth. Okay, now the other thing is that all these things that I've actually given you two A's, that is the short-term goal and long-term goal, we all say they are what? They are all called diversification, or you have to have, or you ought to have a diversified portfolio of investment. Remember one thing, at this particular age, you're supposed to have diversification as far as the investments are concerned. You put your money into different areas so that at least in case we say BS can happen on this area, you have a soft landing on the other area. Don't put all your money in one basket, because if you do, you can get yourself into lots of problem, and at the same time you can actually go ahead and be able to put your life at risk, not only your life but also your family lives. Okay, now if I can just go ahead and recap exactly what I've just said. If you can manage to get yourself 5,000, okay, first of all, these are the basket that you ought to have fulfilled: the emergency fund, the health coverage, and what have you. Probably, I'm assuming at this particular time, you either have a family or you're thinking about having a family for the sake of your future. So if you have the emergency fund and you have the health coverage, that's good to go. Now, after this, what do you do? Because, hey, life is not all about emergency fund and health coverage. Life is all about making something different out there. When one day you're going to sit down and eat and drink, you don't have to work, and you'll be doing so passively. Now, what do you do and how do you achieve that? You achieve that by actually having this pot B fulfilled. And how do you fulfill this pot B? Having a short-term goal and having a long-term goal. And what's the short-term goal? On a 5 years period and below. What do you do with that? You actually pick the examples that I gave you, likes of the rates, mutual funds, treasury bills, fixed income deposit, or rather we call them investments. And if you pick those ones, that's what now helps you to accumulate good money. And at that particular time, you can think of starting the business that you're looking forward into, or maybe you can actually take the money and forward them towards a long-term investment. Remember, this 5,000 Kenyan shillings I'm talking about, I'm not talking about your salary. I'm talking about the money that you can be able to pull after you catering for all the basic needs that you have out there: food, shelter, utilities, and what have you. This is the money that you can salvage at the end of the month. Okay, don't despise this amount of money. It can actually achieve you wonders, and you can be able to do the things. Now, what do you do? And then on the long-term goal, you do the stocks, you can do the real estate, you can do the land buying, you can do also those kind of things like pension fund and what have you. So these are just but examples of areas where you can be able to put your money. But what I'm going to leave you with is this: don't think you've actually messed up your life. Don't think it's too late. It's never too late. You can be able to do something, you can salvage your life, and you can progress to the next level. All right, guess what? If you're there, you're a bit confused, you don't know what are, things like, mutual funds, the treasury bill, the treasury bonds, likes of the stocks, likes of all those kind of things. I do have booklets about that. I've summarized all the information, making it easier for you to digest, assimilate, and incorporate in your life. How do you get the books? Simple. Grab my number from the description of this specific video, and again, you give me a call. It's my WhatsApp number as well as the number that you can be able to call. Let's have a conversation. If you would like us to have a conversation with you, I offer those services for just a cup of coffee, and then we proceed to the next level. For now, it's a goodbye, and see you in the next video.